What is up, everyone? It is Cody here with the Kubicon Jeep and another episode of the Jeep TJ 1-ton build. On this episode of the Jeep TJ 1-ton build, we're going to be putting brakes behind this thing. We have a ton more weight that we need to stop, and we got to make sure that it stops quick. So, little backtrack for those of you who haven't seen my videos on the Jeep TJ 1-ton build before. This is a 14-bolt rear axle and then a Super Duty Dana 60 axle out of an 07 Ford. That's not what a Jeep comes stock with. So, with that being said, we're kind of at the point where we've got our calipers mounted, our brakes and all that stuff. I've got flexible brake lines running off of the calipers in the front. Same thing with the rear. We've got a disc brake conversion, as you can see there, and some rubber line running off of that. Now, we need to connect the rest of the brakes up to our existing brake pedal and brake power booster, which is over there. So, this is kind of the layout of some of the stuff that we got. I have an entire box right here of other stuff hiding. To start out, we've got 3/16 inch stainless steel brake line. I went with stainless steel just because I don't want to replace it again. It won't rust, it'll stay nice and shiny just like that forever. Next thing we've got is, this is -3 AN, I believe, yep. -3 AN 12-inch flexible stainless lines. This is because we're going to basically run, and I'll get my whiteboard in a minute and I'll show you, but we're gonna run these on our links, and we need to be able to have flexible joints at, the front of the link where the heim is, and then the back of the link where the heim is. So we've got a bunch of these. I have a bunch of different variations of it. And then we've got adapters from -3 AN to 3/16 inch brake line fittings. So we can connect our metal stainless brake line, the stuff that just fell, to our AN lines right here. I've got some P-clamps for brake lines specifically, so we can P-clamp those hard lines onto the axle and up in the frame wherever we need to go. Bunch of brake tools. We've got T's. You are going to need 2 T fittings for this. So we'll basically run from one caliper to the other caliper, T in the middle, and this is going to go up one of our links all the way through the Jeep to our line lock. So this Jeep no longer has a parking brake on it. We need to be able to have a parking brake since it's a manual, and someone's Jeep popped out of gear when they were 16 and hit their mom's new car. Line lock. Prevent that from happening. It's a parking brake in and of itself. So we're going to be mounting this line lock inside the Jeep on the floor by the driver's side seat. I will show you guys all of that, but you want to have a line lock. And then the last piece to the puzzle is a larger master cylinder. So this master cylinder is a 2000 Dodge Ram 3500 gas engine master cylinder. This is a 2-port master cylinder. Is going to give us a bunch more power, braking power and all that stuff, and it is that 1.25 inch size for our power booster. So bolts right up, we'll hook our lines into this, and we will have brakes like we should have brakes. So to get started on this, I'm gonna grab my whiteboard real quick, and I'm gonna give you guys a little diagram on kind of the plan here, and then we will get to flaring some lines and getting the brakes hooked up on this thing. So we are almost at the point where this Jeep is finished. We 100% have to have brakes before it rolls out of this garage. So I'm gonna grab my whiteboard and we'll get started. All right, it's been a while since we broke the whiteboard out, but here we are in our archaic drawing. So front of the Jeep is down here, back of the Jeep is here. The orange is our little tub. You guys can see my little kindergarten drawing of tires and the axle. The red is the calipers here. So basically we're gonna run brake line to our upper link, T fitting, run one T to the other caliper. The other T is going to go up, all the way up to the frame, drill a hole into the tub. Our line lock will be mounted right next to the seat, right there. Line comes out of the line lock, through a hole, down the frame, and into our master cylinder, which is power boost, and master cylinder right there. So that's our back line, which will have the line lock in it. Front is very similar. We've got our calipers, run our brake line to the T on the upper link. One goes to the other caliper, and one goes up the upper link into the frame, and then to our master cylinder in the front here. So our flexible lines are for this point here, the point there, and wherever else we may need flexible lines. Same thing in the back. We'll have a flexible line from the T over that heim joint onto the link, and then another flexible one getting off the heim onto the frame through here. And that is essentially our brake system for this Jeep right here. This will be a great time to take a picture of that so you guys have it. But that is our brake design. Basically just the backs and the fronts will be working off the 2 ports on the master cylinder, excuse me. And we'll have the line lock in the middle for a parking brake and some T-fittings and some stainless steel stuff. And somehow it's all gonna go together. So what we're gonna do now, debating front or back. Which one do we start with? Let's do the back first. We'll do the back, we'll get the line lock set in. So I'm going to work on the back. Basically what this translates to from the whiteboard is connect hard line into here. Run hard line up probably to here where we will put a T and we will run it over the heim. Actually, that's not true. I'm gonna run them in the front. So brake line will go along the front, we'll T. Stainless braided line will get us onto our link. Hard line all the way up the link. When we get to the frame in the back there, we'll do another stainless steel line, back to hard line, cut and drill into the tub where we'll get our line lock. The other T-fitting side will come down here, connect into this one. That will get us up to the inside of the tub here, where we will drill a hole somewhere down here. Our line lock is going to be bolted right here. I've already put some nut certs in there for my little bracket for my line lock. And our line lock will sit right here. Drill another hole back out along the frame. We will come up to where our master cylinder will be sitting, and we will plug our lines into that. On the front, same exact thing. We're gonna run from our flexi lines along the truss here to our upper link. We'll run it along the top of the upper link, stainless steel flexi line to hard line all the way down the link, flexi line on the other end. We will flip a UE right there on the frame rail. The other T will go to this caliper, and then we'll follow the frame rail up and plug it into the other port of the master cylinder. So this is pretty straightforward when you know what parts you need. So hopefully this video is helpful to you guys. We'll see if I'm missing anything or yeah, if it works or not. So stay tuned, guys. We are gonna get working on the back and see if we can get these brakes done. What's up, everybody? I wanted to add a little bit of context to this brake setup since we have tweaked it a little bit. As you can see, the Jeep. These are brake line holders for the links. This is a single brake line holder, and then this yellow one here is actually holding both hydraulic lines for my front full hydro, ARB airline, and the brake line in one. And the cool thing about these, I'll show you guys real quick, is these, so you can see currently I've got my ARB line and my brake line running just zip tied to the link, which works great. This simplifies the entire process. These are going on the Jeep. They snap on, you zip tie your brake line through this, and you obviously have it on the top, but it keeps everything protected, and there's nothing on the bottom of the link to get smacked off of rocks. Same thing for the front axle, where I have all my hydro lines. That snaps on. You got your 2 hydro lines, your ARB airline, and your brake line all running through this. Zip tie it over top. Both of these mounts and a bunch of other 3D printed stuff are available on QBmotorsports.com. If you guys need these custom built, shoot me an email or a text, and I'll build you guys specific mounts for your Jeep, so that way everything is kept neat and tight on the Jeep. All right, I got about 0.2 of a second into trying to bend stainless steel line. And as you can see, this is a different color. This is NiCop, it's nickel copper wire, so it doesn't rust, but it's much easier to bend, much easier to flare, and all that stuff. I tried to flare stainless, and I swear, I think you got to get permission from God to flare that stuff. And that's a Blue Point flaring kit, so it's not, you know, a Harbor Freight style kit. Not that Blue Point's like great, but it's supposed to be like snap-on, you know, the whole thing. So we're using Nycop line now. Way easier. I just double flared it. It's all good to go. So I'm gonna get back to working on the back. All right, guys, so I had to order some more parts. So with our stainless steel AN lines and our AN line fittings to brake line fittings, these are what we need to run over the links. That way they bend and don't break like brake line. I ordered these adapters for stainless steel braided lines, -3 AN to M10 by 1.0. Now, some brake systems run M10 by 1.0. This particular brake system does not. It runs mostly the 3/6 or actually all the 3/16 inch fittings. So what I am doing to combat that is I got M10 by 1.0 fittings for the brake lines. But what I forgot to get was the inverse unions in M10 by 1.0. And that is these little guys here. So I ordered a bunch of these M10 by 1.0 unions. That way I can use the brake line essentially to convert 3/16 to M10 by 1.0. It's kind of a mess, but it's the only way to really make this work. Now, in the meantime, since I gotta wait for those to get delivered and all that good stuff, we are going to work on the line lock portion up to the master cylinder because we can do that now. So I got my line lock bolted down right here. This is just a piece of 2-inch angle iron. And then I put the nut certs in on that Motobuilt piece there. Oop, let me switch here to see if we can get some better light. It's a Jegs line lock. So our in is here. This is gonna go to the master cylinder. So basically fluid goes in and then comes out to our rear brakes. Basically all we have to do to make this work is drill a hole, run our brake line up, and then drill. Just kidding, I'm not gonna drill a hole out of the tub. I'm actually gonna run this brake line up against the tub through the little crack, not crack, but through the little opening in the roll cage here, all the way through the firewall. And then we'll just pop right out right here with the master cylinder. So it'll be a quick, easy run for brake line, just from basically our line lock to the master cylinder. And I'm gonna work on getting the T's and everything fit up on the axles as far as those brake lines go, because those are all 3/16 too. So really all we need the M10 by 1.0 for is for our sections that need the braided line. So I'm gonna bend some line, work on some fitment for that line lock to the master cylinder, and we'll get that all fitted up. All right, guys, I'm like 17 videos behind in real life. I'm trying not to give away the Jeep in its current state because we've been wheeling with it already, but I did want to show how the brakes came out. And so what we did, we ran our metal line all the way up to our T's. So you can see our T fitting there with the unions and our M10 by 1.0 fittings and our stainless line. That runs all the way up through the tub. Again, I'm trying to hide the Jeep's current state. To our line lock, that is dirty, obviously used because we have taken this Jeep out on several trips already, and runs through the firewall with a million other things up to our master cylinder, which I'm not opening the hood, so that's the best you can get. Same thing with the front here, our flexible line. This is hanging down low. It's not supposed to be. A 3D printed modification will be coming for this in the very near future. To our T and up our link here. I am purposefully being vague with this video because I am trying to do a reveal video on this Jeep as well, and it kind of ruins the reveal if you guys see the Jeep already. So follow back. I am printing, or not printing, but making all these videos right now, so that way we can get caught up to real time with the Jeep. You guys are gonna love it. I'm staring at it right now, and as much as I stare at it, I still continue to absolutely just be in amazement at the finished product. So you guys are gonna love it. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you very, very soon.